auspicious year 2024. I'll start with wishing all of you a very very happy New Year, replete with transcendental devotional service and constant hearing and chanting and remembering of Lord Krishna. If we do this properly, then we'll be able to do all our other duties in life to family, friends, relatives, work in a very exemplary way. So, so with that, I would like to start with the Jayarada Madhava, short Jayarada Madhava. Then we'll move on with the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yashoda Nandana Jayo Brajajana Ranjana. Jayo Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Kunja Bihari. Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radha Madhava. Jayo Kunja Bihari. Shri Shri Radha Madhav Bhagavan ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna ki Jai. Shri Lakshmi Narsingadev Bhagavan ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranathai ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So, I would like to read a beautiful verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2 and third chapter, titled Pure Devotional Service. Change of heart. So that is the change in heart. That's what Srila Prabhupada translated the chapter name. And 17th verse, very, very famous verse, very deep verse to meditate upon, especially on a New Year day. So a little bit background about the third chapter of second canto, because it's one of the most important chapters in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, because in this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami talks about the importance of worshipping Lord Krishna. In the previous chapter, that is second chapter, Sukadeva Goswami was addressing Parishit Maharaj's question, what one should do, what is the duty of one who is about to die? And he's talking about Ante Narayana Smriti, meaning remembering the Supreme Lord and glorifying His holy name and holy fame. So he was addressing that in second chapter. Then he's continuing the same theme, and he's continued to add more points to talk about the importance of devotional service in the third chapter. So it is a very, very important chapter. And in this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami explains the importance of hearing Krishna Katha and chanting his holy name, Krishna's holy name. And also he describes that hearing Krishna Katha, if you continue to hear, one remains connected with Krishna, and thus his life becomes very blissful. So that is the very, very highest level summary of third chapter of second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The verse I'm going to speak from today is 17th verse, as you see in the screen here. So before we read the verse, so please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I'll read the Sanskrit verse. Ayurharati Vaipumsam Udyanastam Chainasau tashyarte yat shano nita uttama sloka vartaya ayurharati vaipumsam udyanastam chayanasau tashyarte yat shano nita uttama sloka vartaya ayurharati vaipumsam udyanastam chayanasau tashyarte yat shano nita uttama sloka vartaya. So maybe three, one Prabhu, one Mataji, and one kid can recite. Anyone would like to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Samanita.
Ayurharati Vaipumsam Udyanastam Chayanasho Tasyarte Yachano Nita Uttama Shloka Vartaya.
Very good. Thank you. Prabhu or Mataji.
Ayurharati Vaipumsam Udyan Ashtam Chayan Asau Tasyarte Yachadau Nita Uttama Shloka Vartaya.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Ayurharati Vaipumsam Buddhyam Astam Chayanasau Tasyarte Yakshano Nita Uttama Sloka Vartaya.
Thank you. So translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Both by rising and by setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all good personality of Godhead. I would recommend that you read the purport. So today I'm going to speak about this verse based on the realizations of our acharyas, because they have commented a lot on this verse, because it's a very significant verse. So with the blessings of all the Guru Parampara and all the acharyas, I would like to say a few words of inspiration about this verse based on the teachings. So with that, let me offer my respects, my obeisances to the Guru Parampara. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Sakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam. Namahom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashata Desha Tarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse, just a summary of this verse, it says that every rising and setting of the sun, everyone goes one day closer to death. So that's the first message in this verse. Then the second part is, but for one who hears and chants the Lord's holy name and holy fame, for them rising and setting of sun is one day closer to eternal life. Very hope-giving verse for devotees. So when the new year comes and the old year goes, we say the passage of time as 1 year, right? So this means technically 365 times the sun has risen and set. The result of the passage of time is we are 1 year old. So when we say we are 30 years old or 50 years old or 70 years old, it means we have used that many years from the total number of years allocated to us. According to our scriptures, when we come to this world, we are given a certain number of years to live. So if you are 30 years old, you are used already 30 years of allocated time. So how we use our remaining number of years is very, very important for all of us. And New Year gives a great opportunity to think about that. Because as per this verse, and elsewhere in the scriptures also, the duration of our life is made of time. So how we use our time is how we use our life. It's very simple. Huh? So this verse says that in one sense, we are racing against time. So it means we have to reach our goals before time runs out. So that's the very, very important um, thing to think about, especially on New Year, because the New Year is a landmark in our lives and it's a time for reflection on where we have been, where we are, where we want to go, and how we want to go there. So the concept of New Year is not new to only the West or the modern world. Since time immemorial, all human civilizations have been marking the years. And it is very interesting because a new year comes, we see something is repetitive, and something is also very strange because nothing repeats itself. Why? Because the time seems to flow linearly in the material world. Put it other way around. You cannot go back in time. So each year goes by, it is repetition for the sun going around, or earth completing one loop around the sun, and so on. But for us, the living entities in this material world, were conditioned, it is a beginning of another year and another year, another year, and so on. But yes, I mean, this particular concept has a positive aspect. That is, you can keep progressing or growing, or you can evaluate your progress in life and so on. The negative aspect from the material point of view is we are one step closer to end of our life. Interesting, because time has the destructible effect on everything in this world. So Krishna says, Kalosmi Loka Shayakrit. I am time. My will manifest through time in this material world, and it is going to destroy everything. So, and also I was meditating on this. If you notice, every year, our life is becoming busier and busier, or more problematic and more problematic. It is not becoming peaceful or less busy. It seems to get more and more fast-paced. In fact, that's the quality of time in the material world. Scripture defines that. The time as it goes, it makes all the living entities, just become very fast-paced. So things move very fast and we cannot afford to miss things. That's the progress of Kali Yuga. So we live in a very fast-paced society. Think about it. But as we become so busy, we have to ask ourselves a question. The question is this the right type of life which I am living now? Or am I in the right direction to achieve the purpose of my life before the time runs out, before my time runs out? So we need to take time to ask these questions. And the new year provides that opportunity for us. Because we are so busy making all the external arrangements for happy material living. So we want a good job, a good education, good job, a good bank balance, good house, a luxurious car, very expensive vacations. For what? Just to get that material happiness. Just want to at least try to live happily in this world. But what happens? Unfortunately, we end up with more problems, more sufferings, more challenges in life as time passes. So Shastras very beautifully talks about this. The material world will always bring challenges. There will be never a dull moment in this material world. Never a time we can say, I'm done with all my problems. I resolved all my problems. So relentlessly, one after the other, problems will come. We can never expect that there will be a peace in this world. Krishna characterizes this world in Bhagavad Gita. Can anybody give that statement? What does Krishna say about material world?
Dukkhalayam ashashvatam.
Dukkalayam asashvatam. Very good, Prabhu. Asukam anityam lokam. Anityam asukam lokam, he says. Asukam, there is no sukam in the air. Even if you get happiness, it's all flickering for some time, then you get depressed again. And more often, these difficulties will come unexpectedly. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam beautifully explains this. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. Sometimes the problems are foreseen. Yes, you can predict. And most of the times, the problems are unforeseen. So one has to be always prepared. In fact, that is the first message for the new year for all of us to think about. So you have to be prepared to face the problems in life because that's given. That's the nature of this material world. Shastras, very beautifully defines it. In the sense, if you read our Srimad Bhagavatam, especially 11th canto, it is beautifully analyzed. What are the causes of our sufferings and happiness in this world? Huh? Can anybody give me one of the causes of our suffering and happiness? What makes you to suffer or what makes you to be happy in this world?
Maybe association of three modes of material nature.
Correct, association of three modes of material nature, but one level deep. What makes us to suffer or what makes us to be happy?
Sense gratification.
Sense gratification.
Karmas.
Karmas, Prabhu, you said?
Yes.
Very good. So karma is one of the causes. Karma is one of the causes. So meaning you do good things, then of course the good things happen to you or you get good reaction. You do bad things, then bad things happen to you. So karma is one of the causes. Yes, Srimad Bhagavatam talks about that. But how does karma operate? Karma operates through time. Very important because we need to understand the characteristics of time so that we can use our time properly. Sometimes karmic reactions we get immediately, instantaneous karma. You do something bad, immediately the bad thing happens. You do good, good happens immediately. So each karma is designated with particular time at which it gives the reaction. So unless that time comes, the karma doesn't appear or manifest in our life. So in that sense, time is also the cause according to our scripture. Make sense? Because karma is activated by the flow of time. So karma and time are interconnected. So time is also one of the causes of our sufferings and happiness. Then the people may ask, what is the cause of our karma? Right? So anybody would like to answer that? What is the cause of our karma?
Our prarabdhas.
Correct, our prarabdhas. So the scriptures give a very nice analysis. The suffering is caused by our previous papa, sinful activities, and punya, pious activities. Then what is the cause of our punya and papa? What makes us to act in certain way?
It's our mind, Prabhu.
Our mind, yes. What is in the mind?
Desires.
Desires, karma. So it is our material desires. So we have desires, then we do activities. And those activities can be papa or it can be punya. It can be sinful activities or it can be a punya activity, pious activity. So therefore, in that sense, we can say our desires are also cause of our sufferings and happiness. So far we have seen three causes: karma, time, desires. Then if you go one level deeper, and what causes the desire in the first place?
Moha.
Moha, okay. So moha is sort of desire also, right, Prabhu?
Hmm.
So scripture says that it is avidya. Avidya meaning ignorance. Ignorance of our real identity. So the fundamental teaching of Bhagavad Gita, the first lesson that Krishna gave to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita is, we are not this body or mind. We are spirit soul. We are Atma. We are Jivatma. So the ignorance of our real identity, ignorance of our constitutional position, which is I am Jivatma, I'm meant to love and serve Krishna. This is our real constitutional position. So when you don't understand this, or you don't act on this understanding, then we are in ignorance. That is called avidya. Ignorance means thinking that I am this body, I am this mind, I want to do everything to satisfy my body and satisfy my mind. So according to avidya, you have a desire. So then where does the ignorance come from? The ignorance comes from the jivatma itself, atma itself. In other words, if jiva acts in ignorance, then he develops sinful desires, then he performs sinful activities, then he gets karma, then he suffers. If jiva chooses to do pious activity, then jiva gets happiness. So the origin of all this is the choice of the jiva, the free will. Make sense to you? So we cannot technically blame anyone. So we cannot technically blame anyone for our sufferings and our happiness. So because we are the cause, our choices. But self-blaming is also not very productive. So instead of blaming, we should think about how to rectify the situation. So by talking about the nature of the material world and the characteristics of time, I'm not, my intention is not to paint a pessimistic view of the world. And it doesn't mean that we develop pessimistic attitude towards life. Rather, we should become intelligently realistic and understand the reality of this world, reality of the situation we are in. And the new year is an opportunity to ponder on these things. So the whole purpose of our Vedic scriptures is to give jiva proper choices by which he or she can get rid of the temporary happiness and distress business in this world. Because how do we know we are acting properly or not? That's why shastras are very important. So tasmat shastram pramanam te karya vivastito. So one should understand what to be done, what not to be done based on the regulations of the shastra. So that's why reading scriptures is very, very important. So the choices scriptures give progressively take us to the process of bhakti. And with bhakti, we can finally solve this material problems, the problems of happiness and distress in the material world. Only bhakti can completely solve our problems in life. And that's what this verse is all about that we are reading. So there is the aim of the Shruti Shastras, and there is a beautiful, very famous sloka you all know. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityor ma amridam gamaya, om shanti, shanti, shanti. So that's the aim of Upanishads, aim of Vedic scriptures. What is that? Asatoma sadgamaya. Lead me from the unreal to the real, to the reality. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Lead me from darkness to light. In the sense, from the ignorance, please take me to the light of knowledge, where I can see what is the ultimate goal of my life. And by practicing bhakti, you go from mrityorma amridam gamaya. Lead me from death, the world of death, to the world of deathlessness, the death to immortality. And that is the real way of solving the problems. Otherwise, you will be in problems one after the other. From the world of death, we should go to the world of immortality. So therefore, in human life, the scriptures say that we should understand the responsibility and act accordingly. Only in human form of life, we have the ability to respond to the situations according to Shastra. So I'm going to split it like this. Responsibility equal to response plus ability. Ability to respond properly to the situations. Only humans can do. Other species cannot do because they go with the pushes of goes with the instinct, with the emotions. They make decisions or they respond to the situations. Only in the human body, we can act responsibly We can respond to situations based on values, not based on emotions. What values? Spiritual values. Where do you learn spiritual values? By reading Shastras. So very important. So what is new in the new year? Substantially nothing from the material point of view. Nothing new. It is going to be the same. Same people you are going to deal with, same problems you are going to try to solve it, same circumstances you are going to be in, pretty much. Maybe the form may change and things like that. Why? Because there is nothing really new in the material world. Shastra says, same birth, death, old age and disease, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi. Always some calamity lurking around the corner that is about to strike us at the least expected time. So with the passage of time, the nature of the material world will not change. That's the point I'm making. When the new year comes, it's not going to change the nature of the material world. But what makes the material world really livable, tolerable, hopeful, and conducive to the optimistic view is only bhakti practice. And that's what this verse is. We are reading. Ayur harati vaipumsam udyanastam chainasav yes yarte yat shano nita uttama sloka vartaya. As I explained the meaning of this verse is that I'll put it other way around. One who is materialist, with every rising and setting of the sun, that person becomes one day closer to death. But for a person who is constantly absorbed in uttama sloka vartaya, vartaya means discussions, uttama sloka means Krishna. So one who is constantly absorbed in the discussions about Krishna and Krishna's service, for that person, the rising and setting of the sun do not diminish the longevity of that person. So this does not mean that the longevity of the body will get destroyed. Na anyate anyamane sarire. Sarira will go away. But what it means is the person who is constantly absorbed in hearing Krishna Katha, chanting his holy names, doing services, is moving one step closer to eternal life in the spiritual world. Very, very important. So this gives a lot of hope to practice bhakti. Otherwise, it's all same only. So bhakti is making us go closer to eternal life. We live eternally without death. One step closer to freedom of cycle of birth and death. One step closer to the entrance into Vaikuntha Loka. One step closer to the entrance into Goloka, Vrindavan, to gain the eternal association of the Supreme Lord Krishna and his pure devotees. So this is what makes our life positive for us. So bhakti makes our life positive for us, optimistic for us. Otherwise, everything is simply just same thing as New Year comes and goes. We'll keep worrying about so many problems that is going to come or that could come in our life. And Krishna knows the conditioned soul's mind. So in fact, Krishna, by his costless mercy, gives so many notices for us about the problems, real problems of life. I will tell you a story I heard from my superior, which is very instructive. There was a man, it's in Puranas, there was a man who wanted to conquer death because he was so scared to die. So he did severe austerities, tapasya, to please the death personified, which is Yamaraj, or controller of death. So he wants to please Yamaraj and get the benediction so that he won't die. So he did a severe tapasya for a long time. And finally Yamaraj appeared in front of him. And he said, look, my dear person, you are doing a severe tapasya, austerities to please me. I am pleased. I generally don't appear before ordinary people who still has life to live. I only appear before people who are just dead or about to die with my associates. Sometimes I won't come. Yamakinkaras will come. The Yamathudas will come and take people. But you please me by your tapasya, so I'm in front of you. You have done extraordinary austerities. So now, please tell me what kind of benediction you need from me. So this is what the devatas do. So you worship them, you do tapasya, you do some sacrifices, then they appear to give you benediction. Then Yamaraj put one condition. Please don't ask me freedom from death, because I don't have powers to give you that. Everybody has to die. I cannot give that. I am duty bound to give death to everyone in this material world. Mrityu davati panchamaha, it says. So Yamaraj is an agent or representative of the Supreme Lord. So the death personified chases all of us as per the order of the Lord. So we are running and running and running and running to escape death. But finally, we die. So we are running and running. So running away from problem is also nothing but running away from death, because we don't want to deal with inconvenience. So anyway, Yamaraj asked this person, so what do you want? So then the person said, my dear Yamaraj, you are saying that death is inevitable. I accept that, but I want a benediction from you. He was thinking, if I cannot get deathlessness, but okay, at least I get something better. So he says, before death comes, you will give me adequate notice. Can you please give me that benediction? So he said, if I give notice, then I'll get time to prepare myself, my family, take care of all the debt I have, whatever, then I can also sit in one place and practice bhakti. Because he knows, Ante Narayana Smriti. So then Yamaraj said, Tatastu, I'll give you notice. No problem. Then the time went by and this man started to become old. Slowly and slowly, his hair started to turning gray. And as time passed by, his eyesight started getting weaker. He started to wear glasses, kind of. Eyesight started getting dimmer. Then the memory was started to fail. He could not memorize or think or keep things in memory. Then eventually he started losing teeth. Then its bones started to become stiffer. And then eventually he became very weak one day, and Yamatudas and Yamaraj appeared before him and said, time has come, we have to take you out of this body. That is death. So then this person got very surprised and upset also. What is this? Yamaraj, you told me that you give me enough notice so that I can prepare myself. Now all of a sudden you are coming and taking me. You not send me any notice. Then Yamaraj said, my dear son, I have sent you not one but many notices. The first notice I sent you was your hair started getting gray. Second notice I sent you was your eyesight started getting dimmer. Your teeth were falling off. Your memory was failing. So like that, I sent many notices. So you didn't pay attention. You didn't pay heed to any of them. So ultimately, of course, Yamatudas took him away from his body to Yamaloka for judgment and things like that. So the point is, Krishna, through the agent of Yamaraj, through the agent of time, always sending notices to us about the passing of time. Very important. And this is the time, New Year is a milestone where we can think about these things. Time acts very unavoidably in the material world. It acts in a way that it will subdue everyone. Whether you believe in Krishna, you don't believe in Krishna, you don't believe in bhakti, or you believe in bhakti, it doesn't matter. The time will take you away. It will subdue you. But Krishna, out of costless mercy, he gives us many implicit notices. Well, if you read Bhagavatam, in some cases, we get explicit notices also. Can anybody give an example of that? Somebody got explicit notice that they're going to die?
Parishit Maharaj, Prabhu.
Parishit Maharaj. Yes, Radha Rashbari Prabhu. You were saying something?
I was telling about Parikshit Maharaj, Prabhu.
Very good.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Yes, Sarvasiddhi Prabhu and Radha Rashbari Prabhu, correct. Parishit Maharaj is one classic example of explicit notice, got 7-day notice. And he perfected himself. He sat and just heard Krishna Katha. He absorbed himself, his consciousness in Krishna, and he attained perfection. What is the other example from Srimad Bhagavatam? Second canto,
I
ninth canto.
think Katagopani got some incident.
Satvanga Maharaj.
Yes.
Absolutely. You got one, Damodar Prabhu gave answer. One Muhurta notice. Muhurta has a different time duration according to the context, but Katvanga Maharaj got 48 minutes notice. And of course, you use that 48 minutes in the best way possible and attain perfection. So, but generally, all of us get implicit notices, like how I explained. In fact, it's pretty interesting thinking about this. The notice starts very early in life. Very, very early in life. Can anybody guess when we get the notice? First notice? According to Bhagavad Gita?
Changing of the body.
Changing of the body, okay. Abhishan Prabhu?
Thanks, Maharaj. Sorry, I just joined.
Okay, Prabhu. So there is a beautiful verse in the second chapter. Jatasya dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. A beautiful sloka. And what does he say? That means for one who has taken birth, death is certain. And for one who is dead, birth is certain. Very important. Jatasya dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. Beautiful. So you got a very first notice we have of death is that we are born. So if somebody is born, he or she should understand that the notice has already been given. So one cannot complain that he didn't get any notice. So we need to wake up and practice bhakti. Seriously. Because bhakti is the only hope we have in the material world. Everything is temporary. No? So there is another beautiful story in Srimad Bhagavatam about King Muchakunda. I'll tell you in a shorter way. Once upon a time, there was a big battle between Devatas and Asuras. The Devatas, meaning the demigods, and Asuras, the demons. And there is a fight between good and evil, kind of. So the Devatas, the Asuras are very strong, actually. Strong force. So Devatas took the help of Muchakunda. King Muchakunda fought very valiantly on behalf of the Devatas. He went to the Devaloka, and that's where the fighting was happening, and Muchakunda was helping them. Because of his prose, he was able to assist the Devatas in defeating the Asuras. So the Asuras got defeated, the Devatas got very happy. Wow, so we defeated the Asuras. And the commander-in-chief of Devatas, who is the commander-in-chief of the Devata army?
Indra?
Kartikeya, yes. Yes. So the commander-in-chief of Devatas, Kartikeya, was very pleased with King Muchakunda. And he said, my dear King Muchakunda, please ask us for benediction because you helped us defeating these Asuras. You have selflessly served us. You are unconquerable on earth. You are the emperor of the whole world and you are everything, opulence, family, good praja. Everything was going well for you. But simply because we asked you to come to Devaloka to help us, you had come. So many years, you have been fighting here in Devaloka. Since many years have passed, since you have came to Devaloka, many thousands of years passed in the earthly region because one day in Devaloka is almost 6 months in earthly region. Since many years you stayed in Devaloka fighting these Asuras, many thousands of years passed in the earthly region. So therefore, many of generations of your descendants have already passed away. It's pretty interesting. So Kartikeya said, if you go back to earth today, you won't recognize any of your relatives because generations of relatives are born, lived, died already. So Kartikeya was telling this to make a point that you have sacrificed so much for us, for Devatas. So we are very grateful and would like to offer a benediction. And in the course of doing that, this is a beautiful section in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto. And Kartikeya spoke many verses beautifully, but one verse which really talks about the time. I just want to quote that. So it's a very interesting verse. It says, Kalo baliyam balinam Bhagavan Ishvaro avyaya Prajakale yate kridan, pashupalo yata pashun. Beautiful analogy. What it means is, Kartikeya says, my dear King Muchakunda, this time Kala is Bali and Balinam, meaning the strongest among the strong. Then he says Bhagavan Ishvaro Avyaya, meaning the Kala is directly Bhagavan himself, Bhagavan Krishna himself. Bhagavan Ishvaro Avyaya. Then he says in the form of Kala, Krishna controls all living entities in this world. How? Just like Pashu Palo Yatha Pashun, meaning the animal herder controls the animals. Very important. So the Kala Shakti of the Lord, the time energy of the Lord, actually enables or takes the living entities from one situation to another situation, and to another situation, and finally to the another life. Very important lesson to learn. So we go from one situation to another situation by the influence of time, Kala Shakti. And finally, we go to the end of life. Then it changes everything. We get a new body, new situation. Then we go from one situation to another situation in the new body. So this continues life after life because of Kala Shakti. So time is like it's a flow of water. It's a river. We all are floating on it. So it takes from one place to another place, one situation to another situation. So because Krishna is so merciful that every life we experience and every birth that we undergo is a system of purification for us to enable us to realize that this material world is a place of misery. That is Krishna's costless mercy. And this is actually the mercy of Lord Krishna. So the time factor, Kala Shakti, actually takes us all the living entities to different bodies and different situations in the body according to our karmas. And the Sankhya analysis of karma, Kala, time means, let me make it very simple, which constantly changes the shape of everything in the material world. That is the Sankhya definition. It always changes everything. Nothing will remain the same. For example, we were children a few years ago. Now maybe we are adult or maybe in the middle age, and after some time you become old. Then of course you die. So everything in this world constantly changing. And we don't look like a children anymore. After some time we don't look like an adult anymore. We look like an old man or old woman. That's because of time changes the shape of everything. That is the meaning of Kala, Sankhya meaning. So Muchakunda, after hearing all this from Kartikeya, he said, well, I have been engaged in the battle for such a long time. I'm really exhausted. I wanted to sleep peacefully for a very long time. This is what he told. So he asked for a benediction. Oh, my dear Kartikeya, please give me a benediction that I can sleep peacefully without anyone disturbing me. Then he asked the negative aspect. He said, if anyone had to disturb my sleep, then when I open my eyes, the person who disturbed me, his body should burn to ashes because he disturbed me. Strange benediction he asked for. Kartikeya said, Tatastu, go for it. So then Kartikeya came to the earthly region. He lay in a cave outside of Mathura Mandal, Mathura. And when the time came for Krishna to move from Yadus from Mathura to Dwaraka, because Jarasandha already attacked Mathura for 18 times, and another demon called Kalayavana also attacked. So at the time Krishna walked away from the battlefield. And Krishna walked and walked and walked. And Kalayavana was chasing Krishna. Krishna came into the cave where Muchakunda was sleeping. And as soon as the cave was very dark, Krishna went inside and disappeared in the cave. When Kalayavana came in, he saw someone is lying there sleeping. So he wrongly assumed that this is Krishna, and he just kicked him with all his strength. Then Muchakunda woke up. You can guess what happened. Kalayavana was in front of him, and as per the benediction that he got from Kartikeya, Kalayavana's body burnt into ashes. So in this way, Krishna did this pastime of running away from the battle, Rancho pastime, he accomplished many purposes. One of the purposes is to kill Kalayamana and wake up Muchukunda and give him benediction. So it's beautiful discussion between Muchukunda and Krishna you can see in that particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam. We don't have time, but at the end, Krishna gave him the benediction, the pure devotional service, pure bhakti to Muchukunda for his service. So similarly, we have been given so many notices. Krishna has given us so many notices. So if we don't follow his instructions as described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then we'll go through the sufferings in this material world, which is unavoidable. So as Muchukunda woke up and he saw Krishna face to face and got the pure devotional service, we need to wake up. And this is the time to really think about all these things, New Year. So it is better to pay heed to the notices that Krishna very kindly sent us, and we should connect with him through the bhakti practice. Very important. So the scriptures very beautifully says that the actual real happiness lies within our heart. It's not outside. If you are really happy within, the happiness manifests externally also. Within the sacred space in our heart, there is Krishna and there is Atma. Our real identity, who we really are, is there in our heart. Very important, the two personalities. We should identify with, I am Atma and I have Krishna, the Lord, in my heart, in the sacred space of my heart. So when you connect with Krishna in our heart through bhakti practice, we'll experience the real happiness. This is an irrevocable fact. Now there's a beautiful verse, the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which talks about it. If you connect with Krishna in your heart through bhakti practice, you get the real happiness. What is it verse? Tada rajastamo bhava kamaloba dayaschaya cheta eter anaviddam stitam sattva prasiddhati. Meaning, as soon as we establish the loving relationship in the heart with Krishna, the effects of the lower modes, passion and ignorance, what are the effects of that? The lust, desire, hankering disappear from our heart. Then the devotee is established in pure goodness and becomes completely happy within. Very important. Similar sloka Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody remembers? Similar sloka. Famous sloka. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na sochati na kankshati samo sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman, who is Supreme Lord Krishna. And in that state, he doesn't have any lamentation and there is no desires, and is equally disposed to all the living entities. And in that state, he attains the pure devotional service, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. The problem is normally in our pursuit of material happiness, we miss Krishna there. We surround ourselves with things and people and projects, and where there is no direct feeling of Krishna's presence. That's our problem. We forget Krishna. We remember Krishna only when you come to temple or on Sundays or whatever, or after finishing your rounds in the morning. But without Krishna, our life would be like our meal without salt. Simply tasteless. Because what are we doing all these things for? To die and come back again and do everything again? It's boring. If Krishna is there, then the life becomes lifeful. The life is very lively. It's tasteful. Without Krishna, our life is not even life. It is a dead body. Srimad Bhagavatam says that. So we need to make plan about how to connect with Krishna, how to go closer to Krishna this year. We don't need big resolutions for the new year. Just make one resolution, simple resolution. If you take care of this one thing, all the good things will come automatically. That is, make a space in our life that we can be together with Krishna. Very important resolution. How to be with Krishna, how to be with Krishna, how to connect with Krishna. Again, Krishna gives that also. How to do it in Srimad Bhagavatam, in many places, but one place which really very personally very inspirational to me is 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It talks about 4 things that will make us to be with Krishna all the time in our heart. You can connect with him. The verses, the 4 things are Shravanat, Darshanat, Dhyanat, Mayi Bhavo, Anukirtanat. Very simple. Shravanat means here is pastimes, here is glorious. Meaning reading Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, here's Krishna Katha, hearing. Number 1, Shravanat. Darshanat, meaning worship is deity form. If you have a deity at home, you can worship, or if you have a picture of your deity, Krishna's deity or Radharani, you can worship them. That is Darshanat. Dhyanan. Dhyanan means meditate on him or remember him. Always. Before you do any duties, offer to Krishna. Krishna, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this job for you. Whatever activity you do, then it becomes a spiritual activity as an offering. That's a third, Dhyanan. Then Mayi Bhav, Anukirtanat. Anukirtanat means chant his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Every day. These 4 things, when we do it, of course, of all these 4, chanting is the highest. If you do that, then all other 3 will automatically come. So the point Krishna is making in the 10th canto is, how do you connect with Krishna in our heart? How do you go inside our sacred space in our heart and connect with the Lord and identify that I am Atma? Then there is a supreme Atma, Krishna. How do you connect? By doing these 4 things. Hearing his pastime, chanting his holy name, worship the deity form, remember him or meditate on him. Very simple. If we have Krishna, we have a place in our life from where we can develop inner strength. Inner strength to deal with situations of this material world, circumstances of this material world, people of this world. At the same time, we just move towards the eternal life. Then our life becomes worthwhile. Then we have salt in our meal. If Krishna is not in our life, then the life is tasteless. The meal without salt. So then question comes, how to do these 4 things? And Krishna recommends that. There's a method by which you can do these 4 things. In fact, it's a beautiful verse. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur quotes this verse many times. It's in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's spoken by one of the Navayogendras, Prabhuda, to King Nimi, actually, Maharaj Nimi. Beautiful sloka. It says, Parasparanu Katanam Pavanam Bhagavat Yashaha Mitoratir Mitastustir Nivritir Mita Atmanaha. Very important. You do those 4 things. How you do it? In the association of devotees. So we can understand that we should do the 4 things, such as hearing Krishna's pastime, chant his holy name, worship his deity form sincerely, all these things, and remember him in the association of devotees. Then you see the effect. So when we associate with devotees in this way, we can be, what are the benefits we get? Mito ratir, we can be happy. Mito tustir, meaning you're satisfied within your heart. Then we'll be able to detach ourselves from the material desires, which are the cause for all our sufferings. That is mita nivritir. Very important. So this is the method by which you do these 4 things. And that's how Srila Prabhupada designed our programs, our temple, and everything based on these principles. So 4 things in the association of devotees. So when we do these 4 things sincerely in the association of devotees, we will come in contact with ourselves, which is Atma, then Krishna in the heart. Most of our problems come because we are not in contact with ourselves and Krishna in our heart. We think I am the body. If you think I am Atma and I'm meant to love and serve Krishna, the problems will not be there. Since we have become so externally busy with so many things, we lost contact with our real self. So therefore, the problems can be solved by getting to the place within our heart, sacred space, where we are there and where Krishna is there. It is that simple. Huh? But we can get into this place only by the association of devotees. Otherwise, it is literally impossible. So when we make space for Krishna in our life, then Krishna assures us in Bhagavad Gita. What is he saying? Ananya chintayanto mam ye jana paryupashate tesham nitya abhyuktanam yoga kshemam vahamyaham. But those who worship me with devotion, with love, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. What a beautiful assurance. So we should not unduly worried about material life. Yes, we have to do our duties. We have to be a good father, good mother, a good student, and we have to work on money and to take care of the family and ourselves, whatever to upkeep. Yes, we have to do, but you should not be unduly worried about the problems of life because they are going to come and go. Yesterday, Sudarshini was talking about how this happiness and distress comes and go as a seasons by quoting second chapter 14th verse. So we get material things based on our karma. So we should not be very disturbed by the material circumstances. It doesn't mean that you just be lethargic and you don't do your duty. You have to do. Things will come and go. So they will come and go. So we should stay focused on performing our duties as an offering to Krishna and practice bhakti sincerely, because our ultimate goal is to go back home, back to Godhead. We should focus on our eternal life. Huh? So there are two kinds of mercy. I was reading about this. Nishkapata kripa and Sakapata kripa. Kripa means mercy. Kapat means deceitful. So Nishkapata means without any deceit. Sakapata means deceitful. So when the devatas, you go to devatas and ask for some material benediction to the particular benediction, and of course they offer you, they give you that. So since you're asked for it, they give you material things, and that is temporary in nature. It cannot go on. It's not permanent. So that is called Sakapata Kripa, example. So materialistic people think that because of the mercy of their object of worship, they got the material things. And unfortunately, that is short-lived or it's a flickering. So this is Sakapata Kripa. It's temporary. It's not a real mercy. The real mercy is the mercy of the Lord only. The real mercy is when we get free from materialistic mentality. Please think about this point and move closer to our eternal life by connecting with Krishna in our heart. So one should strongly desire to serve and love him, love Krishna. So the four things I talked about, hearing is Krishna's pastimes, chanting his holy name, worshipping the deity form, remembering him always. We do that for what? To love and serve Krishna constantly. This is the kind of benediction we should seek in the new year. And then we will be the recipient of Nishkapata Kripa, that is the kind of mercy or blessings we need. Again, there is a beautiful section again in Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, if I'm not mistaken, 60th chapter, where there is a discussion between Krishna and Rukmini Devi. Beautiful section. The Rukmini Devi speaks many verses. In one of the verses, it's going like this. Astvam bhujaksha mamate charananuraga atman ratashya maichaniti rikta drishta he. yaryashya vridaya upati rajoti matro mamiksha tad huvana paramanu kampa. Beautiful verse. What she's saying, many lessons we can learn. She is comparing, she addresses Krishna as Ambujaksha. Ambujaksha means one who is lotus-eyed. That is Krishna, Kamala Nayana. So Krishna and lotus, again, this itself, we can talk for hours, but highest level, Krishna and lotus have beautiful connection. So that's why we compare Krishna's face to lotus face, lotus height, lotus feet, like that. Because if you think about it, lotus is a wonderful flower that grows in the middle of muddy swamps. The beauty of the lotus is that it's very beautiful, but it's growing in the middle of something which is not very beautiful. Krishna is like that. So he's transcendental, he's a supreme personality of Godhead. He appears in the material world just to give mercy to us. Material world is contaminated. But the Lord appears, he's not affected by this contamination, just to give mercy to all of us. I was meditating on this. Krishna's bhakti is also like that. Krishna is teaching us that bhakti is very pure, even though this material world is very problematic, very contaminated. But if you take up bhakti sincerely, the material world doesn't affect us or contaminate us. Like the lotus flower is waterproof. When the drop of water touches the lotus leaf or a flower, it has the capacity of just rolling off. It doesn't wet the flower. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam says, we may be in this world, but we should not be of this world. Very important. What does that mean? Simply put, we cannot run away from the fact that we are existing in this world and we have to face the challenges in this world. But how much we are attached to the world as opposed to how much we are attached to Krishna, that's the main point. That's all matters. So here Rukmini Devi in this verse is saying, Krishna, you are self-situated, you are self-satisfied. Krishna is called as Paripurna Kamam. Atma Rama is completely satisfied. He doesn't need anything. So Rukmini is saying, Krishna, please bless me. This is important for us, especially we are starting the new year. So what is he blessing? What is he asking? We should ask for this blessing from Krishna. And Rukmini Devi is setting a great example. She is saying that we should ask for the steady love at the lotus feet of Krishna. Very important. This is Rukmini Devi, Mother Lakshmi. She is asking, please give me steady love at the lotus feet of you. That's all I need. So that should be our blessing. So steady love means it is constant. Not like one day you love Krishna and another day you forget him. One day you do service, another day you don't do service because your mood is not there. Devotional service, bhakti is defined by the level of its steadiness. Steadiness means we are determined to do bhakti. Very important. Because steadiness will take us to love. I am duty bound to do this, and as you do it, you develop taste. And the taste gives you love of God. Very important. So therefore, the level of our steadiness and consistency in our service and in our sadhana is very important symptom of how we are advancing spiritually. One day I wake up at 4 o'clock, another day I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning. One day I do this, one day I don't do this. That means we are not steady in our bhakti. If you are very up and down and very interrupted, and if you move according to the influence of mode of passion and ignorance, then we are not making spiritual advancement. So therefore, when we take to bhakti, when we take to Krishna consciousness, we can conquer time. The Kala Shakti of the Lord will be conquered by us. And we will eventually conquer death and will reach the eternal spiritual world and never come back to this material world. Yad gadvana nivartante taddama paramam mama. Krishna says, one who comes to my abode never returns to this place of misery. So we should recognize, we're running out of time, the nature of the material world We should not have false hopes that this world will give us permanent happiness. We should understand the reality of the spiritual world, which is eternal and full of bliss. And we should understand that when we go there, we'll have a blissful existence. And that's how we should welcome our new year, in this spirit, in this consciousness. So I have an exercise for all of you, maybe a request to all of you to do this. Today, whenever you find some quiet time, please close your eyes, sit in a very quiet place, maybe in front of your deities or front of your puja, in your puja room, in front of your altar, a picture of the deities, whatever. Close your eyes and very sincerely, honestly think about what are the things you want to leave behind from last year. What are the things that are totally useless and total waste of time, or makes you waste your precious time, the remaining time that we have in this world? You want to leave behind, and think about what are the things that you want to take with you to the new year, and that will enable you to do these 4 things I talked about: hearing Krishna Katha, chanting Krishna's holy name, worshipping the deity, and remembering him more sincerely this year. So think about that. What are the things you want to give up, which obstructs you from doing these 4 things sincerely? And what are the things that you want to carry over to the next this year, so that you can do these 4 things sincerely? And once you are able to think through that, please write up, make a sankalpa. So taking resolution is not just a Western thing or modern world thing. It is in our scriptures. Sankalpa means the verbal statement of your determination to carry out something great for Krishna. That is what sankalpa means. Sankalpa is, put it the other way around. It is a statement of your goals you want to achieve, spiritual goals. Yes, you can have material goals also. So I want to be healthy. I want to, do this, do that. You can have material goals, but the most important is your spiritual goal, which is very, very important, and it's eternal. So write a sankalpa, write a resolution, write it down. What you're trying to achieve. I want to achieve these 4 things: hearing, chanting, worshipping the deity, and remembering him. But how am I going to achieve that? So this enables us to focus on our goal. And if we don't focus on our goal, we can never achieve it. So that's my request to all of you. So again, in the interest of time, I wish you all a very wonderful year 2024, filled with spiritual strength, inner strength, and most importantly, filled with the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So with that, I will stop here and see if there are any questions or comments. Radha Rasibari Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. I just want a little bit more elaboration on the statement that running away from the problem is not the solution of the problem.
Right, Prabhu. So as I explained in the nature of the material world, there will always be a problem, so that we need to deal with the problem in a very Vaishnava way. So that's what Krishna was telling Arjuna. So Arjuna wants to run away from the problem. He wants to run away from the battle. Krishna said, no. You deal with the problem with knowledge. So I'll give you knowledge. I'll give you the tools by which you can deal with the problem. So there is two different things. Running away is one thing and walking away is another thing. So running away means I don't want to try anything to solve the problem with knowledge, because I cannot face this troublesome situation. It causes so much distress to me, and I want to just avoid it completely. I don't want to do anything about it. That is running away. Walking away means, with knowledge of the scriptures, I deal with the situation. I try to deal with the situation, and after a certain point, situation is not getting better, or it is getting worse, then it's indication that it's a karma. So you just stay away from it. That is called walking away after trying everything. Make sense to you? So running away, so Arjuna's point was, I don't want to deal with this battle because it is going to hurt me, my feelings. It's going to cause so much grief to me because I'm fighting with my relatives. I'll run away from it. Krishna says, no. I'll give you knowledge, deal with it. Even when Lord Ramachandra came, his Supreme Lord who came, he has to face so many problems in life, but he taught us how to deal with those problems in an effective way. That's how we should do. So when we do that, then Krishna helps. And Krishna will do his part. But running away means I don't want to try anything. I just go away because it is some uncomfortable situation for me. I don't want to deal with it. That is not acceptable. Then we are not doing our duty. Make sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you said, I just want an advice on this. We know that, the chanting is the best thing. When we do the chanting in the Brahma Muhurta time, our consciousness is really great. But during the daytime, it goes away. So what is the best method to keep it, at least, 50 or 70% of the Brahma Muhurta time consciousness, keep it remain steady throughout the day? Is there any simplest way, easy step?
So that's a very classic problem, Kamarana Prabhu, right? So because when we are in Brahma Muhurta time, we are influenced by the mode of goodness. And of course, in the surface of the universe, there is a lot of, the positive energy. So when we connect with that and we chant the holy name and connect with Krishna through holy names, then of course we experience a spiritual bliss, and that sustains for some time. Then we start to do our work and things like that. Then the mode of passion and mode of ignorance started to influence our mental functions. Then we start to lose that spiritual energy or whatever you call, right? So that's a very natural thing that happens. So I think the most important thing is that, so how do you sustain it? The sustainment comes, I'm going to put it like this very simply. So scripture talks about prerna. Prerna means inspiration. So that inspiration to continue certain things. And that inspiration comes from the mercy of Guru or mercy of devotees. Because any good things needs a great force. So the force comes from the mercy of a Guru. So we should continue to get inspired to sustain that spiritual feelings that we carry. Then throughout the day, we have to, the prerna is one thing. Second is buddhi. Buddhi means we should continue to contemplate on the experience that we have, the chanting, especially, and the meaning of chanting, and the glories of Krishna and the Krishna Katha and things like that. So that should be, that intellectually it should be going on in our mind. So prerna is the inspiration which we get by chanting, and we know why we are chanting, because these are the benefits of chanting, which is to cleanse our heart and connect with the Lord. When we did that, we get a very good experience, and we have to carry that experience, meaning we need to intellectually connect it with the Lord throughout, meaning so there is a kirtan we can play while we are working, or we can hear some lectures in the background. And so like that, intellectually you are connected with Krishna throughout. So that is number 2. And number 3 is very important, which is facilitation, meaning the conducive environment in which we do our work. That is also very important. For example, in office you can keep a picture of deity pictures, Radha Krishna picture, Prabhupada picture, Guru, our spiritual master's picture, and so the environment becomes very conducive for us to continue that spiritual feelings and emotions throughout. All right, so that is a facility aspect. Then we also need to have a constant association of like-minded devotees, who practice this, who are constantly enthusiastic throughout the day. And by association, we get their, of course, their blessings, their mercy, and that also helps us to continue to be inspired and motivated to keep the spiritual atmosphere around us. So the association is one thing, and most importantly, and this is something really works, the last but not least, is bhakti, meaning praying to Krishna. Praying to Krishna that Krishna, I have this experience when I chant your holy names. Now I have to deal with material energy by doing all this work or whatever. But please stay with me. Please stay in my heart. Please give me that strength, the spiritual strength by which I never lose connection with you throughout the day. And if you try all these things, then you pray, as I said, you first put your hard work, then Krishna's mercy comes. So endeavor plus mercy. So this is how we should sustain that the spiritual consciousness throughout the day while we are doing our material duties. As I said, before you start your work, you say that, okay, today's, Krishna, thank you for giving me all these things. I'm going to start my work. Whatever the result is, I offer it to you. So that's how you always remember him. Always you are in meditation of Krishna. In the sense, your background of your consciousness, you're always thinking about the Lord. In the foreground of your consciousness, you're doing the actual duty, the material duty that you have to perform. But in the background, Krishna is always there. So in that way, the spiritual consciousness never leaves us. It stays with us. When we use our own abilities to, want to stay in the spiritual consciousness, we may fail because Krishna will make us fail so that we can surrender to him. So that's why the prayer is very important too. Yes, you do all these things with your abilities. Then you can also wait for mercy. You beg for mercy from the Lord so that we can stay connected with him and be in the spiritual consciousness. Makes sense, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
Thank you for the nice question. Any other questions or comments? Okay, there are no questions. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And as I said, it's going to be a great year as we continue to follow the process of bhakti sincerely, seriously, under the guidance of Guru. Then our life will be filled with the mercy of the Lord and filled with so many wonderful services that we can render to the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Guru Parampara ki jai.
Jai.
Let's all say Vaishnava Pranam mantra together. Vancha kalpata rupasya kripa Ram Pavane Vaishnava ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.